and welcome to another episode of the Rayados90 podcast. I'm your host, Eddie, and joining me as always is Samira and Fernando. I think we had like a 2 week break. Um, let Monterrey season get started in a good way, and also like a lot of transfer rumor stuff. So we have a lot of stuff to like cram into 1 hour. So we'll try to just jam as much as we can into 1 hour. Um, let's start with I think the last time we talked was the game after Pachuca, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, Monterrey has secured 2 wins. Um, yeah, pretty. I don't want to say impressive. I guess you can say impressive. It's still early in the season, and they're still finding themselves. And obviously, there's some guys still trying to figure out where they fit, and all the stuff that comes with being early in the season. It's still this team trying to get to know their new head coach or manager. So I don't want to, unless you guys want to talk about a specific game. What has stood out to you? It could be just one player or multiple players, and I can start with you, Zamira, first. What's one player that's either stood out to you in a good or in a good or bad way, in these last 3 games for Monterrey that they've won 2 out of 3?
Berterame. Berterame. I mean, yeah, I guess everyone's been like after the Club World Cup, I guess everyone was expecting for them to keep the level they were showing. Um I don't think I can complain from like I mean Arteaga has kept his level, which was something that we were kind of concerned because of previous patterns he was showing from like playing good games and then not actually like doing well. But definitely like Berterame, I'm happy that he got that confidence back thanks to the Club World Cup. It's definitely showing up, and I think also it's like we're lifting up some pressure for him because we understand that the goal, as I know he said the like it was not his responsibility and everyone got mad, but like the position he was playing, he was not comfortable. And I think that's what he meant to say. And now that everyone understands that, I think he has that weight off his shoulders and he's actually playing better. Also, I feel Torrent understands that and is trying to help him to look better on the pitch. So definitely Berterame has done a really good job. Something I honestly just did not expect that he was gonna like. I mean, this last game it was a perfect hat trick. So
Mhm.
it's like I really appreciate from him stepping up and coming back and showing up. He wants to stay, and if he makes a debut with the Selección Mexicana and he gets off, um, he's not using the foreign spot anymore. That would be like really good for him. He can
Well,
stay there
he'd have to keep that up
longer.
for till next year. He'd have to keep it up till
Yeah,
next year because there's the friendlies don't count as official FIFA matches.
Yeah,
So it was the last chance he had was the Nations League game against the US, or that whole period, or I mean, or
if
he
he
couldn't go to
escaped
Gold Cup,
out,
and he
yeah,
couldn't go to
yeah,
Gold Cup. So like the
totally.
last hope was that the Nations League back in March. Once he didn't get that call up, it was pretty much like, okay, he's gonna take up a foreign spot until the the world it's all into the World Cup, and that's it. Like that, there's nothing. Mexico's just gonna be playing friendlies, and at this point, I wouldn't want him to get called up just because right now, as of July 28th, he's the only reliable goal scorer you have. Right,
Oh
there's
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
definitely.
else behind him, and we'll get into it with League's Cup, but
God,
he you have to protect them. You have to protect your player, especially older players, because you need to get especially if there's no other. I'm hoping another goal scorer comes in. But if this is what we have until the end of the year, it's pretty much you have to keep them. A, you got to keep them healthy, and B, they have to keep them at this level,
I,
because
I
I think
yeah,
the one criticism of Berterame is do it
keeping the level up.
in a high pressure situation. He didn't score against America and against Vancouver Whitecaps. He hit the post when they really needed a goal. And so it's like I don't know if you guys follow any other sports. To me, I like to compare him to like James Harden, where it's like dude's really good in the regular season, but we kind of need you in the playoffs now. Like you've shown a little bit in the playoffs, but we need you to take us to the end of the journey, right? Where there's a trophy at the end, and that's the only but you can't do anything about it now. It's you have to wait until the Liga starts. Like right now, he's doing what he's doing, and he's scoring goals, and that's the most important part because last tournament,
He
even
was not showing it up at all.
they
Yeah, no, it was bad.
yeah, no, but what I mean is like they they started out really bad. There was like they weren't collecting points. Like with Torrent, it's like okay, they're still getting to know each other, and it's still like okay, I'm getting to know my players. What's their weaknesses? What's their strengths? But they're still picking up points. The Pachuca game is what it is, but they're picking
Yep.
up points. They beat San Luis, they beat Atlas, and it's like okay, it's still in this learning process, but they're winning, right? Whereas last year with Demichelis, when they needed to like
Exactly.
collect
You will lose
points
against
ahead,
Mazatlan.
yeah, ahead of like
Yes,
before they started playing Concacaf,
Yep.
where it's like stack up the points before you start playing. You start playing, playing two tournaments, and they didn't do that. So what I do like with Torrent is like they're still in this learning process, but they're still picking up points, and they're kind of
Yep.
looking. They're starting to look like what they could. It's about finding that rhythm, and it sucks that Leagues Cup is kind of coming at the wrong time. Where it's like they're starting to figure it out, but now you have this tournament, and I do not. Again, we'll get into that. I just don't want any of the starters in there. But I'll go to you now, Fernando. What's one player that's kind of stood out to you, whether it's in a good or bad way?
I mean, I just like to think that everyone has been doing a good job, at least so far. But the only one that kind of disappointed me with the story might be Rica Chavez. Like, although we only have Eric Aguirre to cover that spot, I feel like he did a better job coming in from the Club World Cup and at least did not have that hot headedness that currently the guy had. Because in this last match, I'm sorry, but it was like a little kid that was the one that make him go out. Because he was just having like conflict with one single guy, and like it cost the team to go 10 men down on a game where we had the advantage for almost, I think, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes that we had. So although he was on the team, like we didn't even notice him, and we started playing better when he kind of left, and it was better 10 men and 10 men.
Yeah, and you guys can disagree with me. You just add whatever you want to add to it. I feel like he's just been another player. I think when they brought him in, he was like, okay, he's going to be the guy that takes over the right back position. And there's games where he's looked like, okay, he looks like the player that they wanted from San Luis. But then there's games where it's just like he's just another body. Like he's just there, and that's it. Like it's nothing extraordinary. Uh, at least he's health. At least he can stay healthy. With Derek Aguirre,
that's
you can't really
true.
tell.
Yeah,
You can't really tell if he's gonna be there or not. But I do agree. I don't want to say he's been disappointed. I think he's just been.
inconsistent
I think yeah. I would say that would be the right word. Inconsistent. I think at
because
some point.
he's not fully bad. Like he doesn't give you those mistakes, but whenever it comes to situations where you're expecting a 1v1 down the wing because the Gatito is already tired, he has to stay back, and then you have to do an overlap to go in the middle and give Berterame like a corner. I'm sorry, a cross, or like try to cut it back so Canales can take it. Like I don't see that much overlapping in a situation where at least Rayados has the tools for. And right now, at least sometimes we do see it on the left with Arteaga, but whenever we play a five back, I feel like that's he's been even missing that because Eric Aguirre does that well. Because right now, for the formation we're playing, we want a little bit more offensive
Mhm.
fullbacks. We want Arteaga and we want, in this case, Eric Aguirre to keep on doing what they're doing. Because whenever Hueso and whenever Rica comes in, you start playing a more defensive-minded game, and that's something that is funny is that the last 10 minutes that for some reason we moved into a 4-2-3. Uh, Stefan Medina started playing at right back, and he created more than Eric Aguirre and Rica Chavez on these last games. And it's Stefan Medina with almost 34 years. Like, it doesn't make sense that he's overperforming players that are currently in that position battling each other whenever you already got delegated to a center back because you are not that pacey enough down the wing.
Uh, yeah, I, 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 I think the fullbacks. I don't, we're getting into transfers right now. I think they'll be left alone. At least I don't see them making any moves for them. But if if this continues to be a problem, where it's like you said, if they're playing through, well, if however you want to call it, five, a line of five or three at the back or however, or you can go to that formation, like you said, it's for to have offensive minded fullbacks that turn into wingbacks, and you want them to push up. You want them to be attacking minded. And there's times where, like this past game, it's Riga Chavez is just like not. I don't know if it's just if it was the weather. I don't know if it's just
It was because he
inconsistency
cut off the
or
beard.
it could be that. But yeah, I think I do expect more offensiveness from him. And from both from him and whoever if it's Arteaga, well, especially if it's Arteaga, I I just don't want them to like, especially with Rico's case. I don't want him just to be another body. Like, so I hope it lights a fire under him that uh, Stefan Medina in his mid, almost in, oh, I guess you can say he's in his mid 30s, really outperformed him, and because I want him to, because I don't want to use um, a foreign spot on the fullbacks. I feel like those are positions you can find Mexican players. There's certain positions where it's like I get a striker, I get a number 10, but there's certain positions where it's like I do think it should be a Mexican player for that position, and that's where I really want him to succeed. I want him to be not just I just want him to find that consistency where he's just not another body. And I guess we've gone on for like over 10 minutes, and I'm going to let Zamira go on the defense here for Corcho Rodriguez. You have been roasted. It
At
was
this
bad
point,
against you.
at this
It was
point,
bad. I saw it on Twitter. It was bad against you. He did not help you. Um, I think he did
you
like
know,
a shot. He made a shot, um, and then it's just been it's just been downhill. If you want to blame him for the penalty conceded against Atlas, or if you want to blame Mele, if you want to blame both, um,
There was a
that
little
was
bit of
just
both on that
it
one.
was a weird play. It just reminded you of like those Andrada mistakes. It reminded me of that Columbus Crew game where it's like Andrada gives
um,
it to Romo. Romo. I'm going Tony Romo, like Romo, and it's like it was just like a hot potato situation where it's like here's the ball,
it was
get
both.
rid of
Yeah,
it. Corcho kicks it. It just ends up, it just ends up in the direction of, it just ends up where an Atlas player is at, and then it just, you know, Mele tries to, go for the ball rather than try
Yeah.
to make himself bigger, and causes a penalty. But
In
Corcho has been, and I think he's been enemy number one
I
for a lot of people.
you
Um,
uh, uh,
I'll let you go, Zamiro.
he doesn't have that many mistakes, but the ones he has, it end up like being a goal against or has like a penalty. Like he doesn't even have that many. Like if you check his statistics, he's not even like the less five players with the worst. The problem is his mistakes are really expensive. Like they really cost you a lot. So that's why he's been getting the like that from
The pressure
everyone.
on him.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Like honestly, at this point, I don't even understand why he's still starting. Like if you see that nobody wants him at the beach, even though he's doing a good job or a bad job and he has that mistakes, why don't you just start Ambris? Like he was the golden boy. He was I don't know, like he would be the best five you can have at the pitch. Why is he not playing? Like, why won't you start it if Corcho keeps having those huge mistakes? And I feel like that's because Amris doesn't have enough to be in the starting. And that's not why you brought him. Like, he was not a project, he was like an already made
Yeah,
star. So
Just
at this
plug and
point, I
play.
don't even want to see Corcho at the pitch, honestly, because again, he's not making that many mistakes, but the one he makes, they're really bad.
I
So if you're gonna have, you know that your fans, they're not gonna they don't let it go. Like right now, they're loving Berterame, but everyone was threatening him, and we know our fans.
it
So
could
at
turn.
this
Like I
point,
said, it could
I
turn.
still
It could
don't
turn.
understand why Corcho's starting. Like, just
It
take him out.
yeah, but Berterame, it could turn. It is. It's all going to be in the Liga. So right now
Yeah.
it's all love. But like with Corcho, I think
Yep.
at some point we just have to come to the realization that maybe that first year was just a one season or one tournament wonder. Um, because
That got
since
him
then,
the
yeah,
scholarship.
yeah, it's just been costly. Yeah, like you said, maybe he doesn't have like he's not making a lot of mistakes, but the mistakes he makes are really really costly, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
against Pachuca, I don't know how he ended up being the only one back there, and it was just a struggle to see him like catch up or try to track down the player. And then just these mistakes that he makes, they're just really either
It
they
was,
end up in goals or
yeah.
they end up in a penalty, or in this case a penalty kick, or they end up like in high threatening scoring chances, right?
Yeah.
It's just I think for him, and it's more because he's using up a foreign spot. I
Mhm.
think those players where it's inconsistency. Like again, if Frica Chavez was a foreign player, it would be a lot
Yeah, a
more
lot more
magnified
pressure, of course.
than what
Yeah.
what it is now. I think if you're a foreign player playing for Monterrey, you have to.
You have to show up.
Yeah, you have to. It's
And that's like the worst thing because there was some moments at the game that we noticed that he was switching with Oliver Torres, and whenever he was able to be free on the center box, whenever he has that freedom, he really does a really good job. He does like good pressure. That's something that I feel Ambris would not give you. But if you want to keep Ambris not to get like those mistakes, like for me, if I was to rent, I would start with Fidel and I just leave Corcho at the bench. If that wouldn't be like a couple games ago, it would not be that bad. And we don't even have like a good B squad. So if you have Corcho for a B squad, that would be really nice. But you're gonna, so now he needs to leave because people is not gonna like him anymore.
yeah.
Even though like there could be 5 games that he does a really good job and just one mistake, he's gonna be hated the whole time. So we need, like, he needs to leave. The problem is, are you bringing someone? Because if not, Amris is not gonna
Well,
do the 100% job.
yeah. We'll get into that right now once we
That's
talk
a
transfers. I
problem.
just want to catch up. You know, I know we're jumping. We're trying to jam in what 3 or 2 games into this podcast. But is there anything else that's kind of I've kind of like Mele. I know the Pachuca game wasn't. He did let him. So I don't blame him for all of them. But
Yeah.
he's been really good against Atlas. He almost stopped. He guessed right. It was just he didn't get a full. He wasn't able to prevent it, but he guessed right. And one of the things that I learned just reading like um, junior supporters. Those like he's really good with penalty kicks, which is the opposite of
Yes.
Andrade.
He
Yeah,
almost stopped it
yeah,
though.
yeah. So he
Dang.
guessed right. He guessed right. It's just it was just didn't he didn't get enough on it to keep it out. Um, I really liked him, and at 27,
Yep.
he at least can stay for a half a decade. That's your goalkeeper, unless something goes
Yeah,
wrong. Knock on wood. But at his age, that's your goalkeeper for the next half decade at least. Barring anything. You know, Again, it could change because next thing you know, you're thinking you have Dale, and we'll get into the transfers, but you're thinking you have Dale stuff, but then Monterrey, say for example, they win Concacaf next year, and then they play the Intercontinental Cup, and Melish, has great games, and next thing you know, gets himself on the radar of another team. So things like that happen.
Yeah.
But if you know, I think he'll be here at least. Unless like I said, unless the European team comes and poaches him, I think he'll be here for the next 5 years. I think he'll see out his contract and get an extension. But right now, he's been really good. I've really liked him. He's hit the ground running. I think another player that's done well has been Oliver Torres. Um,
to
I know
assist on
he's.
this last game, if we're being honest, he didn't show up much on the pitch, but from a number, okay, he's not a mix. He's not a like a central defensive midfielder. Like he's a six, but with Corcho at the same time. So it's really nice that you're starting to notice that, uh, at least he is starting to break those patterns that we only have Canales to go through. So it's it was annoying that if Canales wasn't there inside of the game, we were not going to score. And now we're starting to see other players like Oliver Torres show up that are
Mhm,
starting to create a little bit more. Now that they understand the way that they're supposed to play with
mhm,
Berterame, because the Michelis never taught them. I feel like with Torrent, they might be able to at least understand what he's trying to say, but there's a better translation between them and there's better communication now, and it's showing. So Oliver
mhm.
Torres with a nice squad that gets along, it's one of those players that I feel like gets that energy around the squad and like shows it on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like if the squad is doing good, Oliver Torres is doing good. Because when all the drama was going on, Oliver Torres was not showing up.
Hmm. And obviously Sergio Ramos. It is. I've liked the back. I've liked the three at the back. I've liked seeing Stefan Medina, Toro Guzman, and Sergio Ramos. I feel like I hope this is the formation going forward. Obviously, if injuries happen, stuff has to change. But I really do like this formation. I like having those three guys out there because it's just I feel like it's different. Like Stefan Medina is more of the silent leader, whereas Sergio Ramos is more vocal. He organizes everything, and then Toto Guzman, I think he's 23, 24 years old. He's the young the legs. At least I would like to think he's
Yep.
supposed to be like
And you
okay,
can
you got
tell.
yeah,
You can
you
tell.
have three guys. One is in his mid 30s, the other one approaching 40. You need somebody who has the legs that they probably don't have to be that blanket for quote unquote to just be the player that can if something gets behind him, he has the legs to get
Yep.
to run back and close it and prevent
And
it.
you
Obviously,
and you
go
saw
ahead.
it on this last game because whenever Sergio Ramos was starting to body one of the Atlas attackers, like you just saw Victor Guzman come in and like just scooch the ball and go like outside.
Hmm.
And like those opportunities where yeah, before like okay, Sergio Ramos can win that battle like body to body, but whenever it comes to faster players, if he doesn't get him stuck for long and doesn't get the ball off of him, that was a problem. Where now, at least with the fight back, now that we have Victor Guzman alongside to clean up those type of situations, like you're gonna have your center back partnership just Stefan is going to try and doing the same thing as Victor Guzman on the other side, but at least with Victor Guzman, you're going to have him as a last player, and you're just going to have them there to have a nice defensive like
Hmm.
post, which you didn't have before. And you can notice because when Victor Guzman didn't play against Pachuca, how many did we
Hmm.
receive?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, there were especially. it felt like they were just lobbing it, and then Corto would just he was just having the bad luck of needing to be the player that closes it. To be that player that he's trying to close the gap, or not the gap, but like has the closing speed to try to get to the player, and either try to tackle him in a way that's not going to generate a foul. It's just not his game. It's just you're asking him to do all that, and it's just not his game. And so it's good to have Guzman that has the legs and just has the defensive IQ of how to take away the ball, or close the space and then take away the ball without committing a foul. So yeah, like I said, I've been a fan of having all three of them uh, back there, and we'll get into this in another podcast. But there's been no like news in terms of like Carlos Salcedo, in terms of like when is he gonna come back, or I mean, I know they said at some point at the end of the year or somewhere around this time, like in the fall, but there's really been no update. So I'm just curious how that will be, but that's just for another podcast. But let's unless you guys have a player or any situation in mind that you want to bring up that you want to discuss, we can switch over to transfers, because that's that's the other story that's going on with Nelson Dill. So unless you guys have something that you guys want to bring up in terms of a certain player or whatever, between these
Just
last three games.
finally, after was it after the final against America, that Ocampos finally did something in a pitch.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was.
I would not get that excited yet.
Yeah,
It's
I think, and we'll get into it Leagues Cup. I think of all the like older players, I think he needs to play. I think he needs to. I think playing against MLS defending will do him well, like in terms of like boosting his confidence. And sometimes that's
Yes.
all you need. Like you need to play with confidence. And
yeah.
right now, he had since before the injury, he hasn't had the confidence. So we'll get into it with Leagues Cup. But in terms of transfers, Nelson Dos is obviously the story. Uh, the I guess the brass of Real Betis is in Monterrey to try to close up that negotiation. I don't know the exact. I don't know if they're gonna. I want to say, I guess, lowball Monterrey. I know there was like reports that they were offering like 12, 13 million, which is below the 15, 16 million asking price, and below the 20 million release clause. I think he's gone. It's just a matter of like
Yeah, he's
where,
yeah.
where, and I have no problem with that. Obviously, it's what comes with an international tournament, and like I tweeted, I prefer going for players like Deosa who have like will probably tell Monterrey, I'll give you 6 months, a year at the most. But if there's a European, like have like a gentleman's agreement where it's like if if a European team comes for me,
I'm leaving.
like make it work. Like I'm gonna want to leave, make it work. And that's fine. I would prefer having those players, even if it's like for 6 months to a year, over guys like Sebastian Vegas, where it's like, yeah, he's not going anywhere, and it's just like they're only driven, or where it's like this is like their big payday, right? Like that's it, and there's no ambition, there's no like as much as I love Monterrey, it's not a European team in the top five. I would rather prefer having players who have some type of motivation that fuels them,
Yeah,
where it's you know Sergio Ramos showing that he's not old, or he can still play at his age. Um,
I feel like
Sergio Canales wanting to start another chapter, but I'm talking, but the players from South America, or the players that like kind of Monterrey's kind of struck out, I would say, with players like that are like in their early 20s or mid 20s. It hasn't gone well. Like Duvan Vergara, Johan Rojas, it hasn't worked out. Didn't work out. Uh, I don't
has
know
some
if I guess you can
opportunities,
say
but
Maxi Mesa to an extent. You know what I mean, but it just hasn't worked out. And I feel like Dosa was one of the first ones where it's like, yeah, yeah, it's worked out, but at the same time, playing that well in the international tournament, it comes at a price where it's like a lot of teams are watching, and now it's like, okay, yeah, it looks like he's going to get his wish. I don't know if it's going to be Betis, but he's going to be able to go. Uh,
I
I
was
just
hearing
hope.
that
Go
they
ahead.
were about to offer Borja Mayor, no, Borja Iglesias to Rayados, like in a swap deal for a certain amount plus Borja to go to Rayados. Uh, he honestly, I mean, he's been good in the past few years, but having that switch for that amount of money and the player at this point to have a striker that you know is like up there in age is gonna be bad business for Rayados. And right now, I feel like for the pressure that both Real Betis are applying as the OSA with the OSA, they might take a deal that might be bad for us if they do accept the swap deal. Because you're bringing a striker that is not going to be happy coming in
Yeah,
because he
no,
already
no,
has.
I wouldn't. And I don't know. I did read some people uh, deny it. Uh, I don't. No, 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 no. I think Betis is playing. They're playing a European competition, right? I know. I think they are. I got to double check. Uh,
They uh,
I know they were in the conference league last year. I don't know if they finished in the top six or
they're playing
seven or whatever
Conference League again.
again. Okay.
Yeah,
I think they have. I
they
think
have
they're gonna.
Avila, which is their striker right now, and Avila has been doing like a semi decent job. I don't know. I think he ended up the season injured, but he should be back. So
I
Borja
just
right
wouldn't
now is
accept.
sitting as a bench
I wouldn't
striker.
accept. I would just want to accept money. There's no
Yeah,
player like maybe they're not gonna sell Chucho Hernandez, so I would rather take the money and just use it for whatever Monterrey needs to use it. I I I wouldn't accept anything below 1,500. I know I kind of saw it on the other end. Maybe if you do like you do accept 12 or 13 million, but you add in a 15,
still on
20%
close.
sell on clause. But the gamble is if he flops, then you miss out on the money you could have asked up front. But the other side is he gets sold for, he's only 25. And if he gets, if he plays the World Cup next year with Colombia, he would be 26, still in his prime. And if they were to ship, if they were to ship him out for 30 million bucks or not 30, but 30 million euros or whatever, you get a nice get chunk of that. So that's the
Yeah,
gamble with that. But I'm assuming we all agree that he's gone. He's not coming back.
Yeah,
yeah. At
no,
this
he's
point, you don't
gone.
count with him. Yeah, at
Uh,
this point,
He's
he's
gone.
already out of the squad. We've seen how he's acted outside of the games because he has not been playing. He's just been outside, just watching the games, just like around the team. But like we already know with the attitude that he's showing, he's not gonna stay.
And if
yeah,
you
There's
say
no,
he's not going to be happy and you don't want
yeah,
players not happy, no.
no. That's why, like I said, if you get these types of players where they're 23, 24, especially if you get them for like international tournaments, where it's like I'll sign with you for a Club World Cup, but if I get a European offer, make it work so I can go.
yeah,
Right? Like that's our handshake. I'll join you for 6 months to a year, and after that, whatever happens, happens. Like I said, I'd rather take those players over what they've gotten over the last few years. Uh,
just as long as the OSA goes, I just need somebody like Marcel Ruiz to come to Rayados.
yeah, I don't think that's
And
gonna
that
happen.
he's not,
uh,
no.
Pay 20,
no,
pay 20. We have the money right now.
no, I don't think. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. They're going
He
to.
doesn't even want to go
I
to
don't even know.
Palmeiras.
I don't even know where he wants to go at this point. But I did read from the sources, Enrique Garcia, whatever you want to take it for what it's worth. Monterrey has an interest in Dorado from San Luis, who was playing. He looked well with Canales at that. I mean, again, it's an all-star game, so take it for what it's worth. It's not a.
Yeah.
It's not a. It's not. A, it's not an official game. It's not a high leverage game. But he looked decent with Canales. Um, so that if you get I would like to think they'll get 15, 16, whatever million
Like, yeah.
for Deosa. You use some of that, or do you want to use whatever they got from the Club World Cup? I have no idea what debts they are paying off because they're paying coaches and players. Um, so
They're still paying Sebastian Vegas.
yeah, they're still paying him to play at Colo
Yeah,
Colo, but I mean, Dorado shouldn't cost you that much. He's 31.
Do you
I
think?
would
Do
think
you really think San Luis will let him go? I
at
don't.
this
I,
point,
I
I don't think. I mean, they let Vitinho go,
yeah, they let him
and for
go.
me, Vitinho was more. Well,
I think
no,
San Luis, if you give them a good offer, they'll sell. They'll sell. I think if you give them a good offer, they'll sell.
They can
but
take back Rica Chavez. Nah,
They were gonna sell Sanabria to America before that thing fell down. So I think if you give them a good offer, I think for a 31 year old, um,
they're
I
gonna
would
be
say
asking for around
five,
6, 7.
yeah, five. I would try to get started at five, and work in front. I would not go over 6 or 7 million for a 31 year old. I think you're probably going to use him for 2 to 3 years max. This isn't like a level of Sergio Canales where it's like he's 33, but he's dropping levels, right? He's used to playing at this level, but he's dropping levels. Uh, so I would go no. The most I would go is six. Five, I would start at 5 million and try to work something out there. But we'll see if something. I mean, if Corcho would leave, you don't want to have too many defensive midfielders.
Yeah,
But
at
you would
this point,
empty
it's
out two.
just
was
You
the
would empty
offer
out.
was the offer from Boca actually real, or was just like
I don't trust any Argentine. I mean, at this point, I think it would be more valuable to like get rid of open up the foreign spot because
because
to
I
me,
mean,
if
if
you
you don't want
the
him, you can let him
the
go like not
yeah
that much.
to me, I would use the Deosa and any combination of the 20 million that they want because it would be 30. Again, I don't know what their debts, what people they owe or whatever, but you can't tell me 20 million plus 15 million. You can't get a defensive midfielder and
that's right.
another striker, another goal scorer because, like I said, Berterame, he shouldn't play Leagues Cup right now because you need to protect him. But at some point, he's shown that he can go cold. What really cost him last year was when he got called up for those friendlies with Mexico, but when they when he needed to like keep continuing to perform, when I think Mexico played the Nations League against, I don't know who they played the Nations League last year against, but that was like the official one, the official game that would have taken off that foreign status. He went cold, right? So it's like, well, Bertrand is hot right now. He's shown that he can get cold, and if he goes cold or gets injured for one of those two, there's really no one that you can say, oh yeah, he can pick up the slack. We don't have that. And to me, at some point, Monterrey has to like realize this. I would like to hope, then find another goal scorer to go along with Berterame,
Like
because
they
you just
should
can't rely on one guy.
at least here for the Leagues Cup. I really want to see Mojica. Like they should. I don't even
Well,
know. Like why would he be?
they didn't call up Roberto de la Rosa. I don't know if any like the reason why it came out of why they didn't put him in the squad. Um, I would like to think at some point, you're a striker, you have to score some goals. You just can't be relying on, oh, this guy is moving well, right? Like, or he's positioning as well. Like, at some point, a number nine, you have to score some goals. You can't be like
Yeah,
his positioning is well, or he's holding up the ball well, but he hasn't scored any goals. And at some point, you have to like put in players that at least can chip in, with a goal or two consistently because he scored some goals, but it just hasn't been consistent. And uh, yeah, so and then I'm not hearing about anybody else leaving. Well, obviously, right now the transfer window is still open, so you never know. But to
I
me, go ahead. I mean, go ahead.
no, I do believe that they're not gonna like let any name out. Most likely, because they were just waiting to see if that foreign spot was gonna be available if they was at leave. So I think that's why they've been doing everything like so cautious. Like they don't want to make a player like a striker come like be signed even though they would be like expensive, but feel like, oh yeah, you're here because he left, not because we wanted you.
Yeah,
So I feel that's
I
why they're doing everything without telling names. But I really hope they're bringing someone at
I
least
do
to
want.
start.
Like I said, for me, it's a number 5 and a number 9 that need to come. To me, use the week, almost 2 weeks or whatever, or week and a half or whatever this League's Cup like group stage is gonna take, and get all your business done. Like you don't need to fly to Cincinnati or where. Yeah, I think they're just gonna be playing in Cincinnati. Stay in Monterrey, work all your business, sell the Osa, use the money to, and I would get rid of Corcho, sell him to not or loan him out to another. I mean, he was rumored to go to Toluca, but that never happened. Loan him out to another Liga MX team, or if you're willing to bite the bullet and pay part of his salary, like they're doing with Sebastian Vegas, let him go to Argentina, and play
Do a
there.
swap
And
deal with somebody like San Luis. Just pay
Yeah, send it to San
four
Luis and
million
bring
and
Dorado.
bring
And it's
Dorado.
that's the same
we'll
spot.
see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
You're
I
just
mean,
gonna have to bite the bullet and take more money that you were supposed to spend. Because if we're being honest, Corcho to me is one of the best players that have been in that spot for a while. It's just whenever it comes to situations where you start showing up the errors. Okay, yeah, he has pretty difficult ones,
he's
but
just. I think his
it's
confidence is at a zero. Like he's not even scoring goals or like taking any
but he's
shots
not
from outside the
supposed to.
box. Well, I mean, like in his
He's a
first year,
center defensive.
his first tournament, he was always he wasn't afraid. I think, but like I said,
Because
that comes with confidence.
But
he was
again, it's
playing
because he
more
was
of
free. He was free to move at the pitch, and now he's like, because Guzman was not playing. I think he was trying to cover that spot with Guzman, because if you were trying to do like same body and same like it didn't work. Like that was kind of stupid from everyone, and for him to actually accept that. So like I said before, because of having to go back and fill that spot that he's not good at filling that spot, he lost his confidence, and now he's not even doing the good thing he was
it
adding
was
to the
Hmm.
to like attack. So I don't know. That's why
it's
it's
a
not gonna work anymore. Like he needs to move
Yeah,
to another team. It's not
yeah,
gonna work.
and I didn't even think about a swap deal with San Luis. I don't know if I don't know if they want to accept that.
you're
Uh,
gonna end up winning money, like because I think Dorado wasn't that expensive for them, because I think they got a deal in between like Atletico teams, something like that.
yeah,
And now you're bringing up like Corcho, which, if we're being honest, if you're selling your player for like 8 million market value wise, just pay 4 and leave 4. Because if we're being honest, Corcho at least you can sell him for 3 or 4 million, and it's a good
The three
yeah,
sale.
Boca was offering.
Yeah,
yeah. I think if you can put him in a swap deal, maybe add another million or two just to sweeten it and get the deal done. Because I think at this point, during the Leagues Cup, I think they have. Obviously, you're not going to overspend, but if you need to add another, like say, like you said, if there were to be a swap deal, and all they would be asking, okay, we'll take it, but just give us another million or two. Just give it to
two
them.
millions. It's like
And
take Corcho
here,
2 million and give me
Corcho
Sanabria.
value him at
I
$3 or $4 million.
mean Dorado.
We'll add another million or two for you to sweeten it, and then there, like just hey, don't you know, I that would be a situation where it's like just get the deal done and bring your number 5. I don't think it'll take that. I mean, the only thing he needs to adapt to is like getting to know his new teammates. But he
yeah.
knows the manager, and he would know like what is needed to be asked of him, what his role is, what he needs to do. So yeah, I think Dorado would be the number 5 I would target just because the manager knows him. Uh, I think maybe he's kind of like he's seen Vitinho leave. He's seen some other players from from that San Luis team from like the last 2 or 3 years that were kind of like threatening under Torrent, or like the last year or
Yeah.
two or whatever under Torrent,
The
where
ones
it's
that
like
eliminated us.
yeah, yeah. So uh yeah, I think to me I would try to get Dorado out of there during this like League Cup period, and just get that number 5, and then Corcho, whether it's he's in a potential deal with Dorado or just sending him somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
get this needs to happen now. Just get it done now before the league starts again, and you have your players that you needed. In terms of like the striker, I haven't really. It's been like names. There's names that pop up, but then they go cold, right?
Yeah.
There's really been nothing in terms of like the strikers. It's just been a name pops up for like a few days, then it just dies down. I think I would like to think the money that they get from Deosa, they'll find a number nine. Um, what they're willing to spend, I don't know because um, it all depends on what they want. I think if they want a striker that's in his prime, it's going to cost them at least $15 million. You're seeing with Flamengo's throwing around 25 million for a striker from Atletico Madrid, and he's in his prime, right? Or he's entering his prime years. I think it's gonna take between 15 and $20 million. But if you want to get a striker that's maybe 29, 30, 31, it could be a little bit less. I think you'll probably get him for like $10 million. But there's really no names that like I said that have been like Monterrey's like really connected with that player. It's just been names that come out and then they just die down and that's it. So
I
for
think
you
that's why
guys,
everyone's concerned that they might not bring anyone
yeah,
because there's
that
no
yeah,
names.
there's really no names that, like I said, that are coming up and that okay, Monterrey is really like it's consistent for like a month or whatever. It's just been a few days and it dies down. But what's your gut feeling on the striker um, position? Like, and
I
you can add in the number five. What's your like gut feeling telling you what those two positions? Do you see them adding them this summer, or do you think Monterrey's just going to roll with what they have and that's it? Which would be kind of again, you only have Ramos and Sergio Canales for I don't know how long before age catches up. At least Ramos is defying the age, but it's we saw Sergio
yeah.
Canales
Oh,
against um, you know obviously Liga MX is different, but at some point age is going to catch up, and it's like take advantage of these windows, right? You only have them for so long. Don't don't waste them by not just going for a striker. Don't waste them by not
yeah.
grabbing a number five. But what's your guys' gut feeling when it comes to like those two positions? Because those are
I mean,
pretty much the only ones where I think those are the ones that really kind of need an upgrade. But what's your gut feeling? I'll start with you,
we
Fernando, first.
we haven't talked about the actual issue that Rayados doesn't have a left wing. All of our players play on the right. Canales, Tecatito, and Ocampos are all feeling natural on the right, and on the left we have who?
Ocampos is left.
Yeah,
Um,
but he plays from the right. Like for some reason, he just likes to navigate to the right. It's all every single time. I don't know if you guys noticed that both of the goals, no, three of the goals that came from Rayados against Atlas, all of them came from the right sector of the pitch. Because
yeah,
we don't, unless that Arteaga is playing there, like there isn't much options that we have. Because Arteaga at least does a little bit more of, hey Canales, I'm just gonna give it to you in the middle and like you push it to the sides. But we don't have an actual left winger.
yeah.
Like the only player that I would think about like putting in that position is Ocampos, but I mean maybe it was because we were playing with 10 men, but
I
he was navigating to the right all the time.
I think this is where, and we can get into Leagues Cup now. Or I'll let you, Zamira, answer what you think is going to happen. But you have the Valenzuela kid. That kid was playing on the left side against
Yeah,
Forge, and was actually pretty good. Um,
he almost scored,
I,
and
I,
against
I
Querétaro he
don't,
almost scored
yeah,
again.
I don't. Again, I really hope, and we'll get into like the last 10 minutes of this. I really hope Leagues Cup is just backups and youth players. Like, let these guys fight for jobs. Let these guys fight for backups or the backup jobs. Let these guys fight for if you need to make a sub or
Yeah,
you need to insert a player for an injury. But I'll let you. We'll get into this right now. But I'll let Samina finish with hers. Where do you think? Do you think Monterrey is going to get that number nine and that
Yeah,
number five
they have
before
to.
the summer ends?
They have to bring the number nine. The only thing I'm concerned, it's like if you don't have any names, I really hope it's because they're trying to keep it like underwater, like trying to keep it low key. So again, if this like the foreign spot was gonna
Like
be
I
freed,
believe Mele was like it was just like that. It
yeah,
was
Meli
just
was
it
nobody
wasn't
even
like oh it's going on for a
imagined.
couple. It was they
It was
triggered
less
his
than a
release
week.
Yeah,
clause. Yeah, it was his release clause. Boom, that was it. And we're like,
and
but nobody had any like intent. Nobody had any information where it's like, oh, they're thinking about triggering the release clause of this player, right?
and
Or like, and we're going for
that's how it
two, three
happened with
weeks.
Ramos too. Because I mean,
Because
they were rumors, but at the same time, it was right. Like I think it was the last day or like 2 days before the sign up was like for the yeah for to bring up
yeah,
new
the
players,
deadline day.
like the last day of the window for the transfers. And you signed Sergio Ramos. Like there was rumors, but we thought they were joking. Like to be honest, because the people that were talking about that, it was you were not 100% sure they were actually speaking.
Yeah,
Like there was no evidence. Like right now, there's no evidence. They even said about Quiñones just because he was at the stadium,
yeah,
but I think it's just people just want to believe that there's someone there. So
yeah,
Yeah,
I really hope that they do have those options and they were holding it to see if the Osa was gonna leave, so they can the that spot it's gonna be used for a nine, like 100% sure.
yeah.
Like if they need to cover a spot like that foreign spot, it's gonna be nine, like the number nine. There's no other. There's no other because it's. I think it's more important to bring someone to play with Berterame than replace Corcho. You can just sit him down and play Ambris
And
and
just
make
have him
him
as
understand that he's
a.
doing bad and just hold him, make him look not that bad so you can sell it for a
hmm
good price, decent
yeah.
price. So
But yeah, I right like I do want to believe that that they have. I mean, they're gonna have money. There's no way you can't. I mean,
I
they
mean, you
I
have
don't
have
think
forty
to
there's
use
money
million.
the
it. They have
problem.
to use. They have. I would say they would have earned 30. You know, if they get 15, it would be like $35 million, um, in one summer. And it's like, there's
I
no
would
way
just
you
spend
can't.
25 on a striker. Just bring one that
There's
is on like I don't know. Bring someone like well no
Who's available right now for 25?
Joselu. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't go for
Damn,
25.
bro, I would die.
no.
There's really no strikers that are well. No, technically Jonathan David, which is Canada Concacaf. I no, he just signed with Juventus actually.
No,
No,
I think yeah. To
there's no
me, it would
strikers
have to
right now in
be.
the leagues.
I would have to be someone from Europe or the Brazilian league. I would, but the Brazilian league is going to be really tough because if you're grabbing someone from one of the top teams, um,
He's not going
they
for
have
cheap.
they have they have it's not going to be cheap, and they're playing three competitions, so they really need the depth. If you're one of the teams like that are playing Copa do Brasil, you have the Brasileirão, and then either Libertadores or Sudamericana, you really need to have. You actually need to use all two or three strikers at your
Yeah,
disposal. But so it's going to be expensive. So to me, I don't have a name, but I think they need to go to a league that's so they can get a player that's coming down a level.
I
Um,
mean you can get someone like Pavlidis from Benfica, which he's getting up there in age. I think he's like 31, 32. He had a really good season, but you know that Benfica is already trying to replace him,
yeah,
and you would have had leverage with the Osa grabbing a striker like him, which I don't know if y'all remember the game against Barca that Benfica had, but he
yeah,
was showing up. But
yeah,
he's already like on his later stage of age
yeah,
for at least football career. So players like that, you would have had the leverage with the Osa to bring a really good striker, which I don't know if it would have been like a nice fit, but at least I feel like he fits in any scheme that you can put
yeah,
him on. Like you have your options, but right now there aren't any strikers around the 32, 31 age that you know are coming off a successful career that are showing up, but like there's just none of them in that age. The ones that you were expecting were the two Correas, Joaquin and Angel, which both of them are not coming in good spots. For Botafogo, they didn't do much. For Tigres, he so far he's he still needs to show, but
Hmm.
are not even coming in to show that they're like supposed to be European level. And what if
Hmm.
we get a striker like that? That, oh my God, it's like he was one of the top teams for a while, but like imagine we would have brought in Luka Jovic instead of Cruz Azul. Like
Yeah,
I know that that dropped, but I love Jovic. Real
yeah.
Madrid, Einstein
And you're
Frankfurt.
asking, and it's not like you're asking him to play in a top, because he's struggled to play in a top, in Serie A and La Liga. You're asking him to
Yeah,
drop, multiple levels to play in Mexico, and it's not like you're asking him to play at that level. But yeah, I would say those types of like deals where maybe you can get him at a reasonable price. You would obviously have to give him good wages, but you don't have to pay a high transfer fee plus the wages. I think it all depends what they're going to want. I mean, if they want the guy from Getafe, I don't know how much that's going to cost them, but Getafe really needs his wages off the books. His name
yeah.
it skips my mind,
It's
but I think it's
no, I don't
Mayoral
want
or
to.
something like that. It's
Yeah,
skipping
Borja
my mind.
Mayoral.
Yeah,
Because I
and
was
if you want
confusing
to
him
if you
with
want to go
Borja
that
Luis.
way to like take advantage of a club situation, I think that's like you can maybe not pay as much as you would. Uh, but there's the instances where maybe you just want to grab a player that's 24, 25, and you pay him. You pay the 15 to between 15 and 20 million that you need for a striker, and then maybe try to recoup some of that money down the road. Like I said, maybe next year they win CONCACAF and they play at the Intercontinental Cup, and maybe the player shows out there, and maybe they sell them and recoup whatever they can for that price. But
I feel like Monterrey at this point, with the level of like at least viewers that we can get from this last performance with the Club World Cup, I feel like Rayados can at least go out for a lone player, for a lone striker from one of the good
yeah,
teams, like maybe somebody with connections. Sergio Ramos can bring like a
an
striker from
agent,
Real Madrid
an agent, or you
Castilla.
can say you can and maybe like his agent can open up other opportunities in terms of like talking to other agents, and because that's what Brazilian teams do too. Like they'll grab a loan, they'll be like, hey, we'll take this player on a loan, and you know we'll see if we buy him next year. We'll see, just with the loan with an option, and then there
Or
because
even
that's how.
just bring them without an option. Just bring a
Yeah,
like a young striker for 1 2 years that he's not gonna stay for long, but he comes over here for the development. He comes over here because he's gonna be the starter every single match, and he's gonna be trying to prove that whenever he comes back to his club, he's gonna be playing.
yeah. I
So
think
that's
I don't think it's wise to always think Monterrey should be like, oh, throw money, throw money, throw money, right? At some
but it's
point, you have to, well,
it's
we'll
not
see.
even gonna be throwing up that much money. It's just gonna be like paying maybe 50% of the wages. I feel like even if we take a 60 split, it would be good because those young players come in with like maybe uh, wages like 20K a month, and you only have
Mhm.
to pay like 10 or 15 or 30 or 20. You're not gonna be spending like, hey, I'm bringing this young kid from Colombia that like I'm fully buying him. I don't know how he's gonna perform, which happened with Joao, which happened with Luban, for him to end up with a high salary and not being able to even sell him for nothing. That's what you need to cover with loans. And Rayados
Yeah,
can bring someone from like at least a semi decent team, like
hmm
someone from an academy.
and you don't tie yourself down to a foreign spot if it doesn't work out. Whereas Monterrey has tied themselves to foreign spots, and you're like, how do I get rid of this player? Um, you know, you
So
obviously have
many
to bite the
times.
bullet and loan him and pay at least 50% of his wages. But we'll leave it there. Let's spend like the last 5 minutes on League's Cup. I'll start with Zamira. Monterrey is playing, if I believe correctly, FC Cincinnati, Charlotte FC, and New York Red Bull or Red Bulls. One of the I don't know if it's Red Bull or Red Bulls. Um, as part
Yeah,
of the Leagues Cup. Where do you stand on this tournament, and what do you want to see in this tournament? We'll just keep it short and sweet. I'll let you take the floor. What do you want to see from this? What do you want to see from the team? Or what do you it's been 3 years of this now, right? It's been 3 years of Leagues Cup in this edition where it's like uh, everybody, well, almost now,
The
not
new form
anymore.
is
Not
actually
all.
pretty
Go,
decent.
go ahead.
I mean, yeah, this new format it's pretty decent because it's gonna be so like Mexican teams they're not gonna face any Mexican team, and MLS they're not facing any MLS, so it's pretty balanced. The teams, the three teams we're playing against, they're also playing against Chivas and against Juarez, so we're sharing like the same
The
teams
same
that we're
pool.
playing against. So you would expect for Rayados to win them because if you're gonna compare to like what Chivas and what Juarez would play, if they do well, you have to do well. Like you have to. But again, you need to play with the young kids, play with canteranos. You need to rotate your players because you cannot keep um
Yeah, to
playing.
me,
I mean, we don't
do
want to.
you want to see Canales, Ramos, Medina? Um, who else am I missing?
I want to
I
see
guess you could throw in
Ocampos on
They
those
should
Alvarez.
at
games.
least they should at least see like 15, 20 minutes at the end of the game just to make sure you don't drop points. And if you tie, you go straight to penalties.
Mhm,
You have at least good good
Penalty.
players to get those penalties. So
mhm. I and what about you, Fernando? What's your what's your take on the tournament, and what do you want to see from one today?
All I want to see is players like Mojica, Aldair, Bustos, Tony Leone play. Those guys do deserve to start playing at least a little bit more first team games. I don't want to see Jordi Cortizo again because at least I'm thinking that, well, at least the times
we'll
that he
play
has
him
played,
for the
he doesn't
team.
show. But we're just gonna play him for like rotational purposes, just so we don't have to put anyone else in. We're gonna have to put in Ocampos as well. I hope that he, at least with MLS defenders, like you said, can take a little bit of advantage of that. But other than that, for me, I don't really care about going to the next phase. Yeah, the
Hmm.
tournament is pretty cool. I like the way that they formatted this new tournament. But Rayados is not playing for a CONCACAF spot. We currently have it. We know that we're gonna do our best to at least earn the next spot by
The
either the league or
the only thing they can get out of this is like they don't play in that round one section. They'll advance to the next round, and so they wouldn't start until April, right? Yeah, well, no, March, because that round one starts in February, so they would have that automatic. But it's not worth our older players getting hurt. It's not worth it to
yeah,
me, at least to me.
it's not worth it. But Berterame again getting injured on League's Cup.
PTSD.
Yeah, it already happened
No.
once. We just don't want it to happen again. But you risk those situations. Like, imagine if Sergio Ramos just gets injured in a League's Cup game. Like, I would not. I would not like. How do you say it? I would not let the grudge go off, go away anytime to the person that
Mhm.
played him.
Yeah, yeah, no, because and you're not guaranteed. Like he could, like I mean we've seen it with Ocampos. They might not come back and they won't be the same player, right? So to me, I would not play any starter outside of Ocampos or any player that's over 30 outside of Ocampos. Ocampos really needs the confidence boost, and to me, take advantage of MLS defending. It just bring your that should be the most important thing. Get his confidence
Yeah,
up. If he's scoring a goal or two against MLS defending, I don't care as long as he plays with confidence, and that's it. To me, have your backups and your youth players compete for the backup job,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? If Berterame, to me, I would take Mojica, Aldo Denigris Jr., and have them play against or compete against Platano. I don't even know what's going to happen with De La Rosa. Like I said, I don't even know why they left him off, but whatever happens there. But like, have those four guys compete for as a striker. Like here are these three games. We'll divide it however we're going to divide it up. Go out there and play. Whoever impresses keeps the backup job. If it's the Nigris or Mojica scoring goals over the guys in their mid 20s, so be it. That's how it's supposed to be. To me, let the young players that have impressed in the youth system have a chance to like battle for a starting job. I am sorry, you shouldn't be just because you're 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think we've seen it with you can't say, oh, it's Lamine Yamal, it's a Lamine Yamal circumstance, but like with Mora, that kid is a Mexican player. It's not. We're not talking about Lamine Yamal here. Why can't we put a 16,
Yeah.
17, 18
And
year old
he
guy?
has been consistent.
Yeah, and let them see if he can be consistent because the guys that we're counting on, the Alvarados, your De La Rosas, uh,
Iker
your
Fimbres at this point, he also
yeah,
needs to start showing up
yeah.
because
So let
with the depth that we
let
have,
them all play. Let them all play. Figure it out, and that's it. Because to me, League's Cup is not worth playing Ramos. It's Stefan.
Yeah, no, it's
No
not worth it.
starter should be seeing the field. Take you've
maybe Hector
already
Moreno just to like ease him back into the game. But
Yeah, bro.
I mean, at the same time,
Maybe
who are we gonna have
if
start
you have
back
it with
line?
Guzman,
We're gonna
yes.
play Guzman, Leone, and Hector Moreno on League's Cup.
I
No,
wouldn't
Is
even
it
touch.
like
I wouldn't touch. I would not put Toro Guzman. I would. I'm hesitant where where
Stefan, Leone,
yeah,
and Hector?
yeah. I would
If
let
we're playing the four
like I
back,
said. This is
three
where
back
you're
line.
supposed to like grab all the kid like all the kids that have impressed over this year. Grab all the young players that from under 17 to 8 to 19 or whatever the freaking categories are. Grab the best ones. Take them along with the backups. I mean, you're going to take the starters, but they're going to be like in street clothes. They're not going to be registered. I wouldn't even register them. Let them just enjoy being in Cincinnati. Let them do whatever they want, and just play with them. And like whatever happens, right? If they fuck up, so what? If they're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, so what? Let them figure it out. Like don't bring in the veteran. Like don't bring in Ramos or something. Like if they screw up, it happens. And what is? Let's see if they learn from it, right? If not, then well, it is what it is there. But
if
to
you're
me,
gonna drop points, make it Leagues Cup and not
yeah,
Liga Mix. Yeah.
yeah. The
Don't
I think to
don't make
me,
the same mistake that Pumas did.
yeah. Let let them learn by mistake. Let them learn on
Yes.
on the job. Like let them learn. Let them let them take because after those 3 games, Liga MX starts back, and those knockout games, are going on at the same time as the season. So if Monterrey advances with like the young players and the backups, let them have that tournament. Let them go as far as they can go with that, and then let your starters focus on the league. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. I think we all agree it should be backups, young players, and none of us, none of the guys over 30 outside of Campos and the starters should see the pitch. I mean, maybe Mele, but
I mean
uh,
Mele has to play. He's
yeah,
well. I don't want to jinx it. I'm not gonna say it anymore. But I'm. I mean, do you give those games to Mochis?
I would have preferred I would prefer to give a youth player those minutes just because
I
at
mean,
some point Monchis
the backup goalkeeper that we had to
The
Mochis,
third
didn't he just go to
goalkeeper,
Atlas?
yeah, Loco Ramos went to Atlas on loan for
Yeah.
2 years, I think, if I'm not
but we
mistaken.
have the third goalkeeper. I've heard that he's really good, like
Yeah, I
really
think
really good.
he's.
That's why
I
they
If I'm
let
not mistaken,
Loco
he's.
Ramos.
Yeah, I think he's Mexican American. I think he's Mexican American.
Yes, I think he
So
has. Yeah,
yeah, I would like. It's because Monchis, he's 31 years old. It's like at some point, dude, like move on. Like why are you here? Like it's obviously you want that security, but I don't. I have an issue with somebody who's like he didn't go out somewhere to try to be a number one. Like if he comes back and it just didn't work out, cool. Okay, at least you went out to try to be a number one. The guy just stood here and that's it. Like so to me,
he's had a couple opportunities now. So
yeah, to me,
He
I would
could have won
prefer.
that number one spot here at Rayados because he had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it's not
We
like he
had
didn't get any.
Baravero get injured. We had Andrada get injured. We had a lot of different
It's just he
goalkeepers.
can't find that consistency. He couldn't find
yeah,
that
Yeah.
consistency, and it's not his fault that he's only like 5'11". At some point, you
No.
know,
Yeah.
it's just the height. it's just like because sometimes like when he would go out for balls, it's like he would I don't know if he would like mistime it or he would be too afraid because he's not that tall. Um, you know, at some point, I mean, we see it with Malagón, like his height become a factor sometimes. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think to me, maybe you do this if you don't want to risk Mele, you just go with Mochis and one of the young players, and you go like, here's 3 games. We'll give the young player one, and then give Mochis two, and then whoever stands out from these 3, if we advance to the knockout stage, takes us from there. Like
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, it should be like a Copa MX game. You know how they were, where it's like it was a mixture of young players, backups, and maybe you got 1 or 2 starters. And I think that's how it should be here. I think that's what Monterrey should try to strive for because you
They
don't want
need
to
to.
risk. Give the older players their rest. They played so much already this summer. Like Sergio Ramos shouldn't see that pitch. Stefan Medina, like some of
At
these
all.
guys have went from Club World Cup, maybe a week and a half, 2 week break, and then back to playing. So it's like, hey, let them take it off. There's no
Yeah,
need
just
for
give
them. You
them
need
that
them.
time.
You need them to get healthy from here until the end of the year. So don't. That's why I was upset with the All Star game because it's like
Why?
why are you letting
But
our older
again,
players go?
it's like, I mean, it's business, and I feel like at least Mikel Arriola has talked to Rayados and make, like, because he's gonna sell tickets. So
Yeah,
at least if he needs to play, just let him play like 10 or 15 minutes at the end. Don't risk it.
yeah, but
Just for business, like
I
just
mean,
because of business.
the only thing I'm taking away from this one, I want to see those young players. I want to see like
Yeah.
you mentioned, Fernando. We have nobody else that can play left on the left wing. If nobody else comes, then why are we not having the Valenzuela kid play? Like let's
Yeah.
see how he does. I mean, he showed up against Forge, which I would consider like a third division side, or yeah, let's say a third division side. Let's see why can't he, let's see how he does against MLS Defending.
And they want to play.
Yeah,
We need
that's
them.
the English kid. Okay, some of these kids maybe they're just too good for their age group. Okay, let's see how they are against grown-ups. Let's see how they are. Let's see if the English kid or the Mojica kid can play.
You
That
have to at
that's just
least try them out. Like
that's
it's the issue is that they don't try them out at all,
uh,
and it's just one game. And hey, for the rest of the season, you're just gonna stay on the bench.
yeah. I mean,
That's how
and
it's
sometimes
gonna
we
be.
need goals. Like I mean, luckily Barcelona is hot, and we don't need them right now. But at some point, we've known that sometimes we need those goals. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. Uh, anything else you guys want to add before we go?
No, I
Mm,
think
not really.
we need to wait and see. We need to get more information about
Yeah,
the last resource
yeah. I
players
think
who are coming in.
We'll come back after the Leagues Cup group, and then figure it out what happened
Yeah,
if
and
whatever young player and hopefully young players play and impresses and all that and that.
And just
Um,
pray we don't get
I know
any
you guys are
injuries.
doing a show. If you guys want to, if yeah,
oh,
that. But I know you guys are doing a show.
so
If you guys want to plug that in and let people know what that's all about.
we're doing a podcast for Liga MX in Spanish now. We just started the project like two two jornadas ago, so hopefully the next one should be coming up around the same time as this one. If not, maybe next Wednesday. But if you guys can check it out, it's on Spanish. But hopefully y'all like it. It's me and Tamira. So if y'all are interested in no Spanish, there we go. It's
You have
football
fun.
chay.
At
I
least he
forgot
can
to
make
plug it.
at least he can make fun of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll be back. I am talking to somebody. Oh, well, tomorrow I'm doing a podcast with a Cincinnati podcast. Um, so
Nice.
I think that will probably be out on Wednesday, and then I will be talking to a guy that covers MLS to go more in depth in terms of like the Leagues Cup, and whether this thing is gonna be like is it here to stay, or at some point is this just going to be like let's just get rid of this thing. It's just not working or whatever. So we'll see.
I ac-
We'll dive
I
into that.
accepted. I accepted until the Ascenso comes back.
Oh well, we're
Yeah.
gonna see about that. We're the
Yeah, because
federation is getting sued. We'll see what
that's
later. We'll
also
see at some
hot
point. So
too.
we'll see what comes with that. But yeah. For anyone today, friend, you should get some good uh contents in English this week. So yeah, I really appreciate you two coming on. We'll be back probably after League's Cup. Um, the I'm hoping the transfer stuff is already settled by then. It should be settled by then, and then we'll see
Should
how
be.
League's Cup transpires, and we'll see what happens out of
Hopefully,
there. But
yeah.
yeah, really appreciate you everybody for listening, and you'll hear us again in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.